So I think I need to advance this to the next player. Alright, so we're on to the Upkeep. Let's refresh our stuff. I turned the Blessing sideways as a reminder that for the first turn, I don't roll a die to find out if I lose it. Actually, to get you up to speed, what happens is every Upkeep I'm supposed to roll a die. If I roll a 1, he loses the Blessing. So it doesn't stick around forever. But I turned it on side because technically I don't check for it on the very first Upkeep. So he at least gets 1 turn with it. Everybody else, I think, is good for Upkeep stuff. Nobody's in the street taking damage. Patrice has got her clues. So here's the situation. Patrice is ready to seal, almost. She's 1 clue behind, but if another gate opens, that will give her her next clue. But she's got very low stamina. And I don't see any real easy ways for getting her that, so, Charlie is ready to go to a gate, except that there's a Lang spider in the way. So, if I were to raise his sneak to 3, he would have at most 3 movement points. Okay. I think I could get both Patrice and Charlie into a gate right now. Bob is still having a bit of a problem here, isn't he? He's 1 clue short, going to a gate. There's a crawling one on his way. He might be able to get away. I think I'm going to just... Bob is the biggest problem, because I don't really know what to do with him. He needs clues. He's on a space where he can possibly get clues, so I'll leave him here. Maybe he'll get lucky. Okay, let's go. Patrice is going to go, let's say, 1, 2... I'm worried about her losing stamina. I'll go into the Yugoth gate with her. Charlie is going to go 1. Avoid this monster. So right now his sneak is 4 to make this evade check. -2 from the monster itself. Any other bonuses I see? No. And, oh boy, he's failed. Okay, gonna spend 1 clue. Okay, there's a 4. That counts because he's blessed. Alright, so he's passed his evade check, and he can move up to 2 more spaces. I think I might send him down to the City of the Great Race gate, so that if Bob gets lucky, I can shoot him over to the Solano gate. So let's go 1, 2, City of the Great Race. Finally, Bob is just going to stay there. He's stuck. Let's do our Arkham Encounters. Patrice is whisked off to Yugoth. Charlie is whisked off to City of the Great Race. And Bob is spending another night in the graveyard. Because he's a good salesman. Entering a stone crypt, you're surprised to find a beautiful fresco and some inspirational words upon the wall. There's an almost magical piece within this chamber. Gain 2 sanity. Well, that's some of the luck that he really needed. I would argue that Charlie needs that luck a little bit more, but I'm not going to complain about him gaining something where he could have lost something. So, let's do our other world encounters. Patrice is currently in Yugoth, which is Pluto, by the way. Lovecraft wrote about a mysterious 9th planet called Yugoth, and then pretty soon afterwards, scientists discovered Pluto as the new 9th planet. So everybody associates Yugoth with Pluto, just to kind of tighten up the lore in that aspect. So what I know about Pluto is that it's very cold, so Patrice can't be having a great time. But I digress. She's in Yugoth. Exposure and fear weaken your mind. No kidding. Pass a will -2 check, or you must either lose 2 spells of your choice or lose 2 sanity. My will is 4. -2 is 2. I have failed. I don't have 2 spells of my choice to spend, so I will lose the 2 sanity. Next up is Charlie in the Great Race. Suddenly, the things you've seen make sense. Gain a clue token. Alrighty. Link back up to 8. It's Mythos time, where anything can happen, ladies and gentlemen. A gate opens at Independence Square, which is kind of what I was hoping for, because it gives Patrice her 5th clue. Think. But, as always, it increases the doom track. We're now at 8. Danger. We are close. Out of that gate is going to emerge... We've got 6 in town, so it's got to go to the outskirts of Chthonian. Clue appears at the Unnameable. It's got a gate there. Things that move are... The crawling one gets out of the way. That's good. Now he can finally make a break for it. Good old Bob. And the Loigor moves, and what green monsters do is that when they move, they do something instead of moving ordinarily. So this says that anybody in his space, or in an adjacent space, suffer both a sanity and a stamina. So imagine that. Imagine that if you happen to be in this space, you'd suffer 1 stamina from Ithaqua, 1 stamina from the Loigor, a sanity from the Loigor. If you're also Patrice, you'd lose a sanity from agoraphobia. And if you got extremely unlucky, the Wraith would land on you. And you'd have to contend with these 2 things. It would be a party. So I've talked quite enough, haven't I? We have a new environment card to replace Chill of the Grave, which is Blood Magic. So the way this is going to work, and I'll summarize it very, very quickly, is that if you go to Rivertown, a lot going on in Rivertown, if you end your movement there, you can choose to throw a number of dice equal to your current stamina. For every failure, you lose a stamina. If you get driven to 0 this way, you're dead, rather than just unconscious. You're straight up dead. However, if you survive this ordeal, you gain 3 clue tokens. So it's sort of like gambling your stamina to gain clues. And normally I would take advantage of this as Bob, but due to the additional stamina loss from Ithaqua and a bunch of nasty stuff going on, he can't afford that. So now's his chance to make a break for it and grab a clue. Well, I mean, I could move there, hope to get lucky, and then move to another gate. Ugh. Oh, Bob, you're really giving me a rash. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna send him there, and then pray that he doesn't die. Okay, so let's consider moving. So I'm going to raise Patrice's lore so that she can be prepared to seal the gate when she comes out. I'll move her forward. I'll move Charlie forward, and I don't think I'll... Oh, wait. I'm just combining upkeep and movement together. Let's do this properly. Patrice is going to raise her lore so she can prepare to close the gate in a couple turns. Charlie's going to refresh all of his stuff and then roll to see if he maintains his blessing. His blessing's still around. I actually also skipped the Disturbing the Dead roll from last turn, and it goes off and raises itself to 4. See, it's very hard to keep everything straight when you're playing by yourself, and there are a bunch of effects going on, but I'm trying my best to hold on to all of them. But this means 2 things. Number 1, Ruby Standish leaves town. And number 2, Charlie fails his story. Don't people realize what this means? Charlie tugged at his tie. The stupid thing was choking him again. That idiot Parkins has no idea what's coming. I assume he lost the election to Parkins. Bonnie couldn't meet his gaze. Sir, I have a confession. I didn't vote for you. Alright, that's a little lame. Not on behalf of Bonnie, but that's just kind of a stupid insert. Anyway, dark times ahead. His Settle Down ability, Charlie's Settle Down ability, now costs 3 clue tokens to use for the rest of the game. Now, I realize now that I could have prevented the Taro level from getting to 4 and making him fail his story, but that would have cost me 2 clues, and I'm not willing to do that. So despite the fact that I forgot that I could have prevented this, I'm okay with failing it in retrospect. So now it's extremely expensive to use his Settle Down ability. I'm probably not going to use it. Let's be real here. And Bob is going to move in the street and hope not to die. So it says, investigators who end their movement... Okay, so that's a movement thing. So Patrice moves first, Charlie then moves, and finally Bob is going to gamble his life, in a very literal sense. He's got 4 stamina, which means I roll 4 dice. If all 4 of these are failures, he's going to lose all of his stamina and die. Yikes. But chances are he won't die, so who knows? And I see 2 successes and 2 failures. Okay, could have been worse. 2 failures means he loses 2 stamina. Oops. But the fact he didn't die means he gains 3 clue tokens. Okay, so the good news is he's got enough to seal. The bad news is he's in a very bad position right now, so that any one of these things could swarm him. He's going to suffer stamina damage from icy winds. And if he does survive and nothing accosts him, he's still going to have only 1 stamina when he goes into the other world. Not looking good. But back on track, we have Patrice's otherworld encounter. She's still at Yuggoth, obviously. She's still on Pluto for a little time. A monster appears as her encounter. Uh-oh, what do we have? So the monster that she's going to get is a maniac. Alright, I remember these guys not being so bad. But they do have a caveat where they get more difficult when the terror level gets to 6. So, you know what, I'll mark position 6 as a reminder. I rarely have dealt with this special ability for a maniac in all my time playing this game. But that means that he's in weak mode, so I could try to run from him, but I think I could actually safely kill him. So let's fight him. He's got horror check, no horror check whatsoever. His combat check is simply her fight is 2, plus 1 from the monster for being rather easy to fight. I could put the enchanted knife in one hand to get plus 3, so that's 6. I could try to cast Shriveling to get 6 more, but I think this is more than sufficient. The only problem is if I fail, she's unconscious. And I passed. I got 2 successes, which means I obliterated him. He is now my trophy. Cool. Charlie gets an encounter at the City of the Great Race. The odd plant has you in its clutches. Pass a fight -1 check to break free. My fight is 5. So that's 4 dice with a blessing. I've rolled 2 successes, so I broke free. No penalties. And we have the Mythos phase. Uh-oh. So gate opens at the Unnameable, but there's already a gate there, so we get a monster surge. There are 6 monsters in town, which means 5 monsters are going to pile up into the outskirts. The outskirts limit is currently 5, so it will go to 1, 2, 3. The 4th one will overflow it. The terror level increases by 1. Duke the dog flees town. And we still have 1 more monster to place into the outskirts. Lane spider. Those things are all over the place. Woof. Okay, we have this crescent monster moves. This cultist comes to Bob. The Wraith takes advantage of Bob being in the street and lands on him. And a clue appears at the woods, but there's already a gate there, so no clue. Anything else? Anything else going to ruin our day? Alright, Bob's going to lose his stamina from being in the street. That happens after the Mythos effect, so I'm jumping the gun here. But let's see what we have. Okay. So things just went from bad to worse. We have replaced the Blood Magic environment card with a new, notoriously nasty one. This one's called No One Can Help You Now. As long as this stays in play, we can't seal gates anymore. We can only close them. And that's particularly bad because that means that now this card, where it ordinarily could be replaced by me drawing any environment card, now if I draw a weather environment card, Ithaqua cancels it so it doesn't override this. So this stays out even longer than it's supposed to. We can't seal gates, so it's bad. Things are bad. Well, let's stay positive and move on. Charlie's going to get the first player. He's going to roll for his blessing. He keeps his blessing. Anything interesting happen during upkeep? I don't think so. Oh, let's do Disturbing the Dead, just in case. And the terror level rises to 6. Ho-ho. So now Richard Upton Pickman has left town. And the town has gotten so horrifying that the Curiosity Shop is now closed. Okay, the more that happens, the more certain I am that we are not going to survive this thing. And this is scenario 1. This is supposed to be the easiest one. That means that I've just been getting poor luck. So this is not an ordinary game. But it also is kind of embarrassing that the easiest scenario in the introductory scenario booklet that I made for a game that I've been playing for over 15 years, I'm going to lose to it. That's immense karma. I got 3 characters who can seal, but none of them can seal because there's an environment preventing them. So, don't know what's going to happen. But Let's just do our upkeep. So Charlie's going to stay where he is slider-wise. I think Patrice will as well. And then Bob is going to... Can't do a whole bunch of anything, can he? I think I'll just have to hope. Okay, let's go. Let's go forward. So Charlie's going to emerge at this gate. Patrice is going to emerge at this gate. Bob's goal is going to try to be to get to the Celiano gate. But he first has to dodge both the Cultist and the Wraith. And the Cultist has a -3 modifier, so he's the harder one to dodge. So I'm going to... I have a sneak of 4, so he's -3. I get 1 die to try to get away. Okay, now I gotta dodge the Wraith, where I get 4 dice. Okay, we're good. So he's got 2 movement. Let's move him on over to the Unvisited Isle. Okay, it's the Arkham Encounters phase. Charlie would have tried to close and seal his gate. Now he only has the option of closing the gate. I think I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna have these 2 characters wait here and hope that the environment card goes away. I don't see us winning the game other than that, so Charlie's not gonna do anything. Bob is gonna go into Great Hall and hope that the environment gets lifted before he comes back. And Patrice is not going to do anything. So Bob is at the Great Hall, and his encounter says, "Your red-eyed reflection in the mirror captures your attention. You are delayed." Bad to worse. Alright, it's Mythos time. I hope it's an environment, and I hope that's not a weather card. Ooh. I estimate there's like a 1 in 4 chance that this card is going to cancel No One Can Help You Now. All I can do is hope. So a gate opens at Independence Square, which means we get a 5 monster surge. There are 6 in town, so all 5 go to the outskirts. That's exactly enough to overflow the outskirts and push the terror level up to 7. Wow, the terror level has really been jumping up very fast this game. Much faster than in an ordinary game. Sir William Brinton leaves town. Remember, we fail the rumor if the terror level gets to 10, but that's not even the worst thing that happens when the terror level gets to 10, so one of us might have to just close a gate so we can go stop the rumor. Ugh, not good. Okay, so things should move. We get the crawling one moves to this space. Amazing. The Loigor would trigger again. We have a clue appearing at the Unnameable. Patrice is there, but there's a gate, so she can't technically take it. And what we have is a headline that says, "Merchants march on crime. All monsters in Merchant District streets or locations are returned to the cup." But there currently are none. They're all over at Rivertown. Okay, Disturbing the Dead. Do you go up? Does not go up. It's past the first player. It's new turn. Let's do our upkeep. Charlie is going to roll for his blessing. He gets to keep that. That's something. So Charlie's just going to stay here. First raise his fight. Patrice will raise her lore. We're going to just try to close the gate. Hope that we can seal by next turn. And Bob is... I don't know. So let's move. Bob recovers. These 2 do not move. These 2 are going to skip their gate closing check. Oh, in the interest of sealing. So what if we didn't? What if Patrice tried to stop that rumor? She would have to close the gate and not seal it, and then walk over to this hellscape, where she'd have to dodge every monster, which probably won't happen, and then would wind up going unconscious regardless, because she's only on 1 stamina. No, thank you. Well, I'll just hedge my bets with the Mythos cards allowing us to seal. So that means let's move on to Bob's encounter at the Great Hall. Pass a luck -1 check, or the book is a prison. What a strange library. So, luck -1 check. My luck is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. I failed, but I can afford a backup clue. How about one more backup clue? I don't want to be imprisoned by a book. Wow, it's such an engaging read that it's imprisoned me. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I'll read it exactly here. A monster appears from the book. It's like Final Fantasy V. For anybody who actually gets that Great. For actually everybody. Sorry. So the thing that emerges is a witch. Now, Bob could easily kill this thing with what he has, but he would fail his personal story. What I'm more concerned about... Well, okay, so she's not that bad to evade, so he's going to at least just try to evade her. Here we go. And that's a failure. That's a failure. So I could spend clues to try to actually succeed, or accept the failure, which I think I'm going to have to do. If you fail to evade a monster, either to prevent entering combat or to escape from combat, your penalty is to suffer the stamina damage marked in the corner. So he suffers 2 stamina damage, which means he goes unconscious. Now so this combat's over, the monster returns to the bag. I again have to pick a penalty for Bob, but I think the choice will be easy for me. I'm going to... So the options are go back to only 1 stamina and lose half of like his stuff. But I'll instead go back to full stamina, lose nothing, but get an injury card, which is the equivalent of madness cards, but for stamina. He's not in town, so he doesn't wind up in the hospital. Instead, he gets carded to Lost in Time and Space, where he'll have to spend next turn. But the injury that I get is called Skin Rash. So the witch gave him a skin rash. Go figure. This says anytime you lose stamina, you also lose 1 sanity. Ouch. So, not to give too much away, if we actually have to go up against Ithaqua in final combat, he attacks your stamina, which means every time he smashes Bob's also going to lose sanity, so he's going to wind up taking additional damage. It's going to be harder for him to keep alive. Great. It's bad. It's bad, guys. Alright, let's go on to the Mythos phase. We have... Gate opens at the graveyard. And there is no gate there, so... There's another one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 simultaneous gates. Doom tracks at 9. Only 1 more gate open at the same time, and Ithaqua awakens. But... Let's give a clue to Patrice, as we're supposed to. A monster will emerge from the gate, and we'll get a Shan, which is a nasty little space bug that kills you. This monster moves. And what we have now is, unfortunately, it's not an environment card. It is a rumor card. The only good news is we are not allowed to have 2 rumors in play at once. So this is going to get discarded without effect. But it doesn't replace No One Can Help You Now, so we're stuck not sealing. So we're just going to have to keep waiting it out. So I will move on to rolling for Disturbing the Dead. And it's going up again. Terror level is now at 8. It's critical. Eric Colt leaves town. Everything's going wrong altogether. So let's pass the first player. Charlie keeps his blessing. These 2 are just going to stay there. They have to seal their gates. Bob can't do anything. He loses his turn for being lost in time and space. So, I'll go on to movement. He stands up. Those 2 are staying still. They're not going to close their gates. Nobody gets encounters. Let's go straight to the Mythos phase. We're at the end of the turn already. So, gate opens at Historical Society, and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end. That is the end. So, 7 gates are open. I'll give one clue to Patrice because she's due one. And that's the limit. Ithaqua has filled up his track. So we move on to the final combat. So let me get that all prepared. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but we'll see what happens.